Best ball mania. I have one of my last video out of the number 3 pick. This one's out of the number 10 pick. In these videos, I just talk about some of my favorite players, some of the key advantages in best ball, and how to give yourself the best opportunity to win. Now, it's a massive contest, so the number one thing is you have to be different from people. My first 2 picks were not different. That was Garrett Wilson and Puka Nacua. In this one, I went ahead and I will bounce around a little bit to keep the video a little more fast-paced, but with no further ado, let's get right on into it. So 3-4 slot, Pacheco, give him to me. All right, so with the 4 slot there, went with DJ Moore. In that offense, he's going to be the number 1. Keenan Allen, talking about him being fat and whatnot, not a big deal to me. But DJ Moore, his yards after the catch, his short route ability, those things are going to be consistent. The fact that he did it last year with Justin Fields, he will have success this year, in my opinion. I think he's fallen a little too far just because of the 3 receiver competition. But looking here, 2 Bills come around at the top of the roster here. And one thing I talk about in my last video is stacking Week 17 games. So given that I already have Garrett Wilson in Week 17, they play the Bills. So with these guys falling, we've seen it time and time again. If the person who doesn't get Josh Allen doesn't snag Kincaid or James Cook, these guys tend to fall a little bit. Now here I get lucky, and actually that's a gift. James Cook in DraftKings, which is full point PPR, falling that far is an absolute gift. This is one of my favorite starts of the whole year so far. Just solid start, well balanced. Let's get into the next pick. All right, now with great balance to start here, you're pretty much just looking for the best player on the board, in my opinion. For me, that's an easy question. I think Zamir White could be the worst starting running back in the NFL this year. I prefer his backup, Dylan Laub, especially in best ball formats. Zamir White, there's no way he's going to be playing third downs. While he may get a good amount of touches, I hate him. Ramondre Stevenson, on the other hand, on the worst team, running back, that's going to be tough. I actually made I did a live draft on YouTube, 2 of them. And a lot of that time I talked about Jordan Love. He's the only player I've actually taken for MVP this year. I think given his skill position players and his offensive line and whatnot and coaching, I think that he has a great opportunity to not only dominate but possibly win the MVP. So given that, gotta love him here. So got him at that turn there, and given that I already have DJ Moore, this is why I have Jackson Smith and Jigba starred here, I do believe. So given that I have DJ Moore, the Seahawks play the Bears in Week 17, and like I said, if you're looking to win the championship, now you're not doing these to win a couple bucks. The idea is to win it all. You have to be different, but you also have to have these Week 17 stacks. And it's more important to stack your own team, but Week 17 is important. All right, coming around here, picks 106, 111. As you can see, well balanced. Still to this day, I think this might be my best draft so far. But you never really know. The ones that you think are going to be your best might end up being your worst. But looking at some of the players right here, David Njoku is one of my favorite tight ends, especially at this spot in the draft, as he got sniped the pick before me. So looking here, considering I already have DJ Moore with that Seattle Week 17 stack, I think Caleb Williams should be my pick here. As I'm doing these on the fly, I've recorded a couple of these videos, so I'm never 100% sure. But yes, there we go. Caleb Williams, glad my brain was working there. So with the Caleb Williams, DJ Moore stack, with the Jackson Smith and Jigba Week 17 kickback, big fan there. I am just loving the way this is forming into place. Now with only Pacheco and Cook with these receivers here, I could, if I would have had Josh Allen, given that I have Kincaid and Cook, I might go with Curtis Samuel, but you don't really want to load up too many guys on one team. 3 is pretty ideal if you're stacking them out. If you get up to 4, you start, only so many mouths to feed. So it gets tough optimizing your EV there. But given this is one here, I have All right, so with that last pick, I went with Jonathan Brooks. And that's definitely an upside play. With the balance and upside that I have at the top of my draft, I don't mind taking some flyers here on some players with big time upside. So the rest of the draft, all I'm looking to do is fill out these stacks and get the players with the best upside possible. I mean, this team here is well balanced. It's got good upside. It's got just about everything you need. Now, if I'm able to build out this team with some more stacks and players with upside, this is exactly what I'm looking for. So Jonathan Brooks was the pick before. Surely he's going to miss the first 4 games this year. But with James Cook and Pacheco already on the lineup, I don't mind having a guy like him as my number 3 running back. Big upside. We're looking for the championship. So end of the year, that kind of stuff. So here, yes, I like Charbonnet, but Rashid Shaheed is somebody who it just defines what I'm talking about here. 50-yard touchdown on any given week. Surely the Saints suck, but week 17 they do play in a dome game, which is nice to have. Always got to keep that in mind. Dome games are very beneficial. We go Shaheed. All right, so this part of the draft here, as I was saying, we're just looking to build out some stacks. Given that I already have Jordan Love, I would love to pair Musgrave with him here. We'll see if Musgrave falls in this one. I'm never too sure. But as you can see, I also have Marshawn Lloyd queued up. Now, this was I think this draft was about 2 weeks ago or so. And this is when Marshawn Lloyd was a little more higher up on the Packers depth chart. Now, given my lineup already, this is another guy here that I don't mind taking a flyer on Marshawn Lloyd. I think it's going to be one of the best offenses in the NFL this year. And the fact that he's behind A.J. Dillon makes me not worry too much. So A.J. Dillon, Marshawn Lloyd's got to be on the field to take over that position. But given this point in the draft, I'm just looking for upside and building out some of these stacks here. Week 17, quarterback, running back, tight end. It's an ugly stack, but it's going to be a little bit different than most, more than likely. So most people with Jordan Love will have Dubes or Wicks, who is my favorite receiver this year. Jaden Reeder or something like that. But give me a little bit of Musgrave and Marshawn Lloyd. It's going to be a little bit different than most. This lineup is looking sharp. Hopefully we finish strong. All right, so end of the draft. ADP doesn't really matter. You're really just looking to solidify these stacks here. Given that I already have Rashid Shaheed, I think this should be an easy one for me. I should probably go Derek Carr. But I actually go DeMarcus Robinson. Now, the reason I did that more than likely is looking at Quentin Johnson and some of these receivers down at this list. They're all bums. DeMarcus Robinson last year, when he finally solidified that number 3 role with the Los Angeles Rams, they run more 11 personnel, which means 3 wide receiver sets, than anybody in the NFL. The last 6 weeks of the season, he played almost 90% of the snaps. When you can get a player in that 180 pick range that's going to be on the field for 90% of the snaps, it's hard to avoid that. DeMarcus Robinson is one of my favorite late round flyers, especially if I have some kind of Ram or Cardinal set going on. And given that I already have Puka, you get a little backup, a little insurance just in case. I think he could be great even with Puka being healthy as he was last year. So I think that's a great pick there. And I think the main reason that I wasn't too worried about the quarterback in that situation is I've got 2 pretty damn good quarterbacks here. So I'm not too worried about getting a third. I will definitely stack a third if Derek Carr falls. But there you can see A.T. Perry is somebody that I queued up. He's a Saint. Week 17 in the Dome against the Raiders. He's somebody that's drafted in only 0 leagues. Now, that is where you get your plus EV. Okay, so here is the final roster. Looking at it here, you get the Jordan Love with Musgrave stack. You get the Bears, Seahawks, Week 17 stack. You have some Buffalo, Jets, Week 17 get-backs. I mean, this is easily one of my favorite lineups that I've built. And now you can see how I closed out. With Dylan Lowe, he's one of my favorite late-round flyers on DraftKings. Solidified third down back more than likely for the Raiders. Gray, the same thing, potential upside in that offense. And then A.T. Perry and Keaton Mitchell. who aren't drafted in many drafts. And when it comes time for week 17, if they are able to score a touchdown,